We're excited to announce a new release of SmartList Builder and wanted to go through a feature that has been there, but we've greatly enhanced it in this release. So back in 2019, we added a feature that does SmartList favorite tracking. And what that does is it tracks the last run user and date of each favorite and then tells us how many times that favorite has been run. Now it'll track from the time you install that 2019 release, which was an 18.2 release, and going forward. So if you've had that, you've been tracking for a couple of years, and that feature is there. So let's just take a quick look at that feature before we show you the new feature that has been added to this. So as you can see, it's tracking different SmartList favorites, showing me how many times they've been run, and then when the last user was, the first run date, that type of thing. But to show you this, let's actually go into SmartList and run a couple, and we'll see how that actually tracks. So I'll just run some basic account ones here. And we don't actually need to let them return the data just to get some tracking information. Okay, so now if I go back to SmartList Tracking and hit redisplay, you'll see that those account level favorites are showing that I just ran those. And of course, the first run, because I didn't have any runs before that, was today. The last run is today, and it's showing me as that user. Now, as other people run those, you will see that that will change to whoever was the last user to run those. And if I scroll down, you can see I have some different ones where lesson user 1 has run them. When they first ran them is different than the last run. And then it also shows you what type of SmartList favorite that is. Is it a company one? Is it a system one? And who is it visible to? If it's a company, it'll show the company. If it's a user level one, it shows the user. If it's a user class, it'll show the class. So that's great. And one thing you'll actually notice if you're still on an earlier version than this release is that prior to this release, we only showed the ones that have actually been run. In this release, we've added all the ones that haven't been run as well. So you can see all the favorites, and then you can tell which ones have actually been run by looking at the dates. So if I was still on, say, the 18.4 release or something like that, I would only see these 5 as well as these 3. I wouldn't see all the others in here. Now, what did we add in this new release of SmartList Builder? Well, this release is going to work on 18.5, which was the GP October 22 release. So 18.5, and then of course, anything going forward, these features will be in. But we added the ability to edit a favorite and delete a favorite. When I say edit, that means we can change the favorite name, the visibility, and the password. It doesn't have everything like changing the criteria in it. This feature is designed for the admin person who needs to manage all the favorites in the system. Maybe you have a user favorite that you need to change to be a system one. You need to change it to a different user, that type of thing. We can do that. Maybe you have some that are user favorites and you want to get rid of them. Or maybe you just need to clean up your system. This is a great way for those admin type GP users to clean up the favorites as well. So if we come back here to the SmartList tracking, I'm just going to edit a favorite, and we'll just play with this user level one that I have here. So what I can do to edit it is just double click on it, and it brings up the edit favorite window where I can see some information about it. I can see that it belongs on accounts. Now here's where I can change the name of it if I want to. I can also change the visibility or who it's visible to if it is not set to system, so that way I can take it from one user who maybe left the company and give it to somebody else who is their replacement or something to that effect. And with the features that they added in SmartList to add the passwords, we can change that password here too, because if I'm reassigning it to a different user, I probably want to change that password. I may not know what the old user's password was. We can do all of that, and I can save that, and you can see it has changed it here. If I go back to SmartList, I do have to refresh the actual smart list. So let me relaunch it. And you can see that that favorite name has changed here as well. The other thing we can do is I can delete either just the tracking. So if I just want to restart tracking on this, we see it's been run a lot, but I want to kind of reset that and see if it's still being run, that type of thing. Or I can delete the favorite. Now, if I delete the favorite, it deletes the tracking along with it. You can actually delete multiple. So if I select, say, all the account ones and do delete favorite, it is going to look, because you can actually delete the default one, the asterisk one. So it will tell you, hey, for that one, I'm only going to delete the tracking for that. So if I say yes to this, you can see it didn't delete the default one, but it did get rid of that tracking, and then it deleted the other two favorites. So now if I were to close SmartList, relaunch it, those favorites would be gone. In this window, we also have the export to Excel so that you can do that if you want to export this so that you have it to work offline with or anything like that. Now that tracking was doing it by the last person to run that favorite. But what if I want to know when each user has last run that favorite? We're actually tracking that as well in the SQL tables behind the scenes. We just don't display that in the window. For the favorite, we're just giving you the last one tracked. But we are tracking when each user has run that favorite and how many times they run it for. So basically the same information, but at the user level, not just the favorite level. That's, of course, only going to be available in the 18.5 release and going forward. I'll just show you how that works here. So like I said, it's not tracking it in the SmartList tracking window, but it is here in SQL. This top result set is what would be in that window. But the bottom result set here, you can see is tracking per user. So if I look at this modified user and maybe these active items lines for that favorite, you can see I can tell when lesson user 1 last ran it and when essay ran it. Now again, this will only start tracking this information when you install this new release. So going forward, it'll continue to track this, but it won't have any of your previous runs information. So something you want to get installed so that you start tracking the information. Since this resides only in SQL, what we have done is we've created some different SmartList Builder imports that you can use to view this data. So if we go back to GP, under SmartList Builder, import, if I go to import from web and pick the series of SmartList Builder, you will see here the tracking and the tracking history. The tracking will be what's in the window, that favorite level. The tracking history will be at the user level, what's in that second table that I showed you, where we track when the last time each user ran it. So you can just click one of these and import it. And we have it here for SmartList Builder, Excel Report Builder, and Navigation List Builder. Once it's imported, we can go to whichever builder you imported it for. And we'll play with the history one, but you can see we have that built here. So then we can go to SmartList, and it's under Additional SmartList by default. And we can run that and see that same data within SmartList. So we don't have to have access to SQL to get this. We can import these lists directly into SmartList Builder, Excel Report Builder, Navigation List Builder, and see the data there. You can find this new release by going to eonesolutions.com, going to Downloads, picking SmartList Builder. You can select Software, or you can just scroll down, and you will see it here under the SmartList Builder 18.5 release. You can also find the templates by scrolling down a little bit further, expanding SmartList Builder, and you will see the SmartList Favorite Tracking History and SmartList Favorite Tracking imports here for Navigation List Builder, Excel Report Builder, and SmartList Builder if you want to get them this way instead of doing it from the web import in SmartList Builder. So that's a quick look at the new functionality we've added to the SmartList favorite tracking. Hopefully that gives you some more information to go on and help you keep your favorites cleaned in SmartList.